Good morning, children. Hope you are doing well. So, let's start a new chapter today. It is sales and selling process. So, let's begin. First of all, we will discuss what is sales. So, what is sales? Sales refer to the exchange of goods and services for money, means we buy something and we pay for it. So, selling is the hallmark of business, and no revenue comes unless a sale is made. Means if we don't buy something, there no return will come. Okay. So, the proper definition, what is the proper definition of sales? Selling is a personal or impersonal process of assisting and or persuading a prospective customer to buy a commodity or service and to act favorably upon an idea that has commercial significance to the seller. So selling has many features, so we discuss about it. So first, what is it? It is selling involves persuading and convincing people to buy. Means we have to convince people to buy something. Unless and until we convince them, we couldn't buy. We can't force them, but we can convince them to buy that product. Okay. So next is selling also involves winning the confidence of buyers by providing them information about the utility of products and services. What does this mean? This means in selling we involve the buyers by why the buyer will buy the product unless and until they have the knowledge about the product. So we are the sellers, we explain them about the product, they get to know about the product and then they buy the product. So it is a part of winning the confidence of buyer. So buyers got confident about the product and then they buy, trusting the seller. Okay. So next is selling converts goods and services into cash. What happens in selling? We give the product, in exchange what we get? We get the amount, we get the money. So it is also a two-way process. Okay. Now selling can be over the counter, means retail, means we go to the shop and we buy, and also selling can be door to door. The salesman come to our house and we buy the product. Okay. So next is we will discuss about the following methods with both type of the sellings, means the retail store selling and also the door to door selling. Okay, so the first methods that we follow is sales by inspection. What does that mean? In this method, the buyer or his representative inspects the good before deciding to buy them. Means what does in this stage what does it happen? First of all, the buyer goes to the market, goes to the shop, he asks for the product, or the product, maybe the product is new in the market. So what happens? The seller convinces the buyer. So first of all, the buyer gets the knowledge about the product, they inspect about the product. Okay, then they get convinced and then they buy the product. So it is a matter of time consuming method, because if until and unless the buyer gets convinced, they will not buy the product. So it is a time consuming matter. So next is sell by description. So what happens in the sell by description? Goods may be sold through description in catalogs. So what happened? Catalogs are given over there, and there we have to choose, means the buyer have to choose about the products, they have to know about its sales, they have to know about its details, specifications. So they get the details description of the product. So if we give the catalog about the product, it becomes easier, because we can see the product and we can then decide to buy. Okay, there is a varieties of product given over there, the chart is given over there, we have to we can compare the product, which is good, which is bad, we can follow the specifications, we will follow the total things, and then we'll buy the product. So it is good, it is in case sell by description is a good method, because we get to know about the product, we get to know about other products, and then we finally convinced and then we buy the product. So next is sell by sample. So what is sell by sample? Under this method, a sample or a specimen is of the product is checked. Means, so A sample is given, means a demo of the product, means suppose each and every product there is a sample part is given over there. So we take the sample and we utilize it, and then we decide the product is good or bad. Because if we order the product without knowing it, so if the product becomes a negative product, then it is not the profit for us, it is loss for us. So definitely if there is a sample of the product, we must check it first, then we will buy the product. It is a good process. Next is sell on approval or return. So the seller sends the goods to the buyer, and after checking them, the buyer may decide to buy them or return them back to the seller. So sometimes what happens, there may be a product which is bought, but it is on the trial basis. First of all, the seller gives the product to the buyer. So he trial the product, and then it is definitely his or her decision. He will take the product, he will buy the product, or he will return the product. First of all, he or she will use the product, they will get a trial of it, and then it is final decision of them, they will return it or not. Okay, so this is the methods of retail store and door to door. Okay, so the next point which we are going to discuss, it is the distinction between marketing and sales. So what is marketing? If we discussed about sales earlier, now we'll discuss about marketing. So what is marketing? Marketing is a wider term and includes selling. In marketing, selling is also there. So basically, marketing consists of interacting business activities performed to plan, price, persuade and distribute want satisfying goods and services to present and potential customers. So selling involves obtaining orders from customers and transferring ownership to them. Selling is one of the functions of marketing. So marketing is the main term, marketing is the wider term, selling is a part of it. So we'll discuss about the difference between marketing and selling. So first of all, what is the main basis of distinction? It is the scope. So first of all, we discuss with marketing. So what is it? Total system of consisting of planning, pricing, promoting and distributing products. And in case of selling, it is a part of marketing which involves persuasion and directing flow of products to customers. Means, as we discussed before just now, we said that selling, it is a part of marketing, and the marketing is the main wider term in where this process of selling takes place. Means the main planning, pricing, promoting is mainly done in marketing, and selling, it is a part of a marketing. Next, what is it? Next point is beginning. So what is beginning? In marketing, what is beginning? So in marketing, begins much more goods are produced to understand the needs and preferences of consumers, and in selling, begins after the goods are produced. So what happens in marketing? It begins before the product is produced, and in case of selling, after the product is being produced, it is the seller's work to sell the product. It is the process of selling. Means the product has to be sold in the process of selling. But in marketing, the planning has to be made about the product, the promotion has to be made. Until and unless you make the promotion, the customer does not know about the product. So the distribution of the product is also to be done, the planning to be done, the pricing to be done. It is a wider term. But in selling, after the product is being produced, after the promotion is being done, it is the work that we have to sell the product. So there's a difference. There's a difference between the marketing and the selling beginning, because only in case of marketing, it has to be decided before the product is being produced, and after that, when the product is being produced, then we have to continue about before the product is being, we have to do the planning. After the product is produced, we have to do the promotion. But in case of selling, we only have to think about selling the product. Okay, so next, what is end? Next distinction is end. What happens in case of end? It continues in case of marketing, it continues even after the sale. so as to provide after sales services and to judge reactions of customers. And in case of selling, comes to an end with the delivery of the goods to the customers. So what happens in the end product of marketing? In end product, we wait for the reaction of the customers, because when we promote about the product, when the sale process is going on, when the launch process is going on, we think that what will happen if the product is not being sold. So we have to wait for the customer reaction, and we have to wait for the customer by judge the product. So it is a main motive that we have to impress, we have to convince, we have to make a solid impact about the product to the customer. But in selling, what happens in selling? It is the ending comes when after we deliver the product to the customers, means the customers buy the product and the end process is being done about the product. Okay, suppose there is a new launch of a mobile. So the in what happens in case of marketing? There when the product suppose the product will be launched in, first of all, in any social online shopping sites, then after that it will be launched on the retail stores. So the first of all, the who is doing the marketing, he is very tensed about the product will be the people will like or not. But in selling, what happens? It comes to the retail store, and a buyer goes and the buyer buys the product. Process is end. Now the next is orientation. What is orientation? In case of marketing, customer oriented, the main aim is being to satisfy the need of the buyers. And in selling, what happens? The product oriented, the aim being to satisfy the needs of the seller. Here is a point. It is given that what is the orientation in marketing? What is the main motive of marketing? The main aim is to satisfy the needs of the buyers, which means the buyer will buy the product. Those who is marketing, he have to think that I have to make the product according to the buyer's need. So he will make the product and then he will launch. So in what happens in case of, and now next is what happens to case of the selling, in which product is main, because until and unless the quality of the product is good, it will not be sold. So in selling, product is the main thing, but in marketing, the customer is the main motive, because if we can't convince, if we can't satisfy the buyers, we can't sell the product. So marketing and selling both are interlinked in this. Now next is focus. So what is focus? On long-term growth and profitability of business, and on short-term maximization of profits. So what happens in focus? Focus in marketing, it means it is a long process. Means marketing not only depends only on one product, it depends on many of the products. In most of the products, marketing is being done. So it is not a process that the product is produced and then it is being sent to the seller, so he will sell the product to the buyer. No, that is not the process. So what happens in marketing? One product is being produced and is sent to the seller, and then again another product is being produced. So it is a wider and long process. But what happens in the case of selling? In case of the selling, the seller, what he does, he sells that particular product to the buyer and his duty is over. Okay, so this is the main focus, a short term maximization of the in case of selling, and in marketing it is a long term process. Next is means used. What is means used? It is integrated approach, and it is persuasion and promotion. And next is what is objective. In case of objective, profits comes to the customer satisfaction, and in selling, the profits come through the sales volume, which means in case of marketing, it is the customer. If the customer is satisfied, then definitely the profit will come. And in case of selling, if the product is being sold, then only the profit will come. The motives are different, the objectives are different in both the cases. Now next is principle, and the last point is principle. That is what? Caveat vendor. and let the seller beware. And what in case of selling? It is caveat emptor, let the buyer beware. So what happens in principle? Main principle of marketing is the seller must be aware of the product. And what happens in case of selling? The buyer must be aware of the product. There is a huge difference. Okay, so thank you children. Today up to this, we'll discuss about the rest part of the chapter some other day. Thank you. Stay well, stay home.